Get a taste of this and a little bit of that.
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Today I'm ready to drop on you my third iteration Shatter King Spellblade for Last Epoch, and huge shout out to community member Cyborg for helping with this build. As always, I will show you every single facet of the build. Everything is timestamped in the description below if you need to bounce around. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay. Now what you're looking at right now is 540 corruption on our new Shatter King. And the skills we are using is, of course, Shatter Strike. This is going to be your spam skill. And for the most part, throughout the run, you can continuously spam Shatter Strike. We're using Teleport for our movement, which gives us a boost to damage as well. We're using Enchant Weapon when you need extra damage for those harder fights. And anytime you're out of mana, we're using Mana Strike, and it only takes a couple of hits, and you get your mana full extremely quick. We're also using Flame Ward for added survivability, and that is set up to trigger on stun. So as you can see, for the most part, even over 500 corruption, we are just gonna slaughter all these enemies. And then when you get a big enemy, you just hit them with everything and they disintegrate. Now this is a pretty mana heavy build. That's why we're using Mana Strike. But again, it only takes a second of using that generator to get your mana full again. So we'll just kill a couple more enemies so you can see the beauty of Shatter Strike in the gameplay. It's a very fun build. Again, Cyborg, thanks for the advice. Pretty solid. All right, let's show off some single target. Exiled Mage. Good night. Fully empowered Nemesis. Crazy damage. Shade of Oribus. Be careful. 540 corruption, Rye. All right, be careful. You better fly away. Don't get too close. Ooh, you dead. Let me show you how to recreate this build. So now let's break down the skills, starting with our movement skill, Teleport, and I'll try and point you in the right direction on what nodes you want to take first. Now with Teleport, first thing you want to do is come to the right here and snag Elemental Affinity. And this is going to give you a 50% boost to your damage for 4 seconds. But we want to make sure we're maintaining this boost all the time. So you want to come to the left here and grab Time Dilation, which is going to boost the stat buff duration by 100%. So it'll be very easy to maintain. You're then going to want to come down here, get mana efficiency, and get global cooldown recovery speed. You're then going to come up right here and get increased cooldown recovery speed and haste, and 1 point into knockback on arrival. Now, if you plan on not liking knockback, if it just feels weird, you could pull this point out and put it right here for more haste and more cooldown recovery. Moving over to our generator, which is Mana Strike. And believe it or not, this one actually does do some damage, but of course, focus on Shatter Strike for your damage. This is very simple. You want to take more attack speed, more area, more mana gained, and more mana gained. You're then going to come to the left here and get more mana gained. We don't really care about damage. We care about attack speed, area, and just getting as much mana as fast as humanly possible so we can use it for Shatter Strike. Moving over to one of our defensive spells, Flame Ward. Now for here, the first thing you want to do is come down, or come to the right and down. This is going to give you 40% less hit damage and 30% less elemental damage taken. Huge for damage reduction. You're then going to come right down here and put 3 points into dilation so that it lasts 36% longer. Now, I don't like having a million buttons to push, so I always automate my Flame Ward. So I come up here and I take this node, Astonish, which makes it where it is automatically cast when you are stunned. So you get hit, you're stunned, and bam, you've got this huge boost to survivability. I then come over here and grab an extra charge so we can go off twice. Then we come to the left and turn this into a cold skill. And then any remaining points, you'll notice we're at 25, and right here 5, I put into base fire damage, which again is converted into base cold damage. Moving over to Enchant Weapon, which gives us a big boost to damage when we need it. First thing you want to do is come down and take these 3 nodes. This is going to be the duration of your Enchant Weapon, melee elemental damage based upon missing mana, and efficacy, which is going to be a passive, less mana cost, and then when you activate it, increase melee damage. Very, very cool node. You're then going to come up here to the right, get melee chill chance, and get more added melee cold damage. And then lastly, 5 points here into melee attack speed. Last but not least, our damage dealer, Shatter Strike. Now for Shatter Strike, first thing you want to do is come down here and snag all these points. This is global cold damage. This is multiplicative damage to your Shatter Strike, recast 2 times, and attack speed. So that's why it's always going off so often. You're then going to come up here and get more mana efficiency and ward so that you can cast it more often. Tooltip currently at 183,000. We're then going to come over for more multiplicative damage and more multiplicative damage. Now, right now I have 26 points into Shatter Strike. I came down here and took more area with cold penetration and critical strike multiplier. Now you can, if you don't have this many points, if you can't get to the crit multiplier, you can put it right here. The less attack speed isn't huge, but you will get more multiplicative damage. But this is how I set it up, and this is how I like to test it. Those are the skills. So now let's break down the passives for our Shatter King. At time of recording, I'm level 98, and I will show you where to put those final 2 points. Now in the base tree, nothing too exciting here. We're taking health and mana, intelligence, resistance, attack speed, and cooldown for teleport. And we're taking reactive ward, which is kind of helps you in a survivability mechanic. When you drop below 70% of your health, you get a boost of ward. Moving over to Spellbade, and we'll kind of go node by node. We're taking base cold damage, ward decay threshold per intelligence on Arcane Warden. 4 to Frozen Steel. This is going to be multiplicative damage against frozen or chilled enemies. We're going Arcane Shielding. Damage taken with Arcane Shielding, -10. Again, more survivability. Staggered Aegis, this is going to give you a boost to your armor, melee attack speed, and ward. Dex, increased critical strike chance per dex. All these nodes are just awesome. Dual wielding. Mana Reaver, which is chance to gain 100% mana when you are using a melee attack. Again, ways that you can maintain Shatter Strike. Prismatic Blade, dex, melee, increased attack speed. Razor, this is going to be a boost to your melee attack damage at high cost, which is over 10, which Shatter Strike costs more than 10. And then Blade Weaver, which can boost you up to 15% multiplicative damage. We're also coming up here and getting River Blade, which is a boost to your melee cold damage and increased cast speed with teleport. So you are very snappy. And then the final points here in the tree, Mental Fortitude, which is intelligence and ward per second. And Prodigy, which is crit chance per intelligence and ward per second per intelligence. Now I said, where am I going to put those final 2 points? Next level, the point is going to go here. And then the final point, it's going to go here. If you want more survivability, you could put your last passive point into Mental Fortitude. If you want more damage, you could put it into Frozen Steel. Now moving over to Sorcerer, we have 5 points into Mana Shell. This is ward per second per 10 max mana. Just again, more survivability and mana. And then the final 8 points are over in our Rune Master. This is health and less damage taken to ignite shocked or chilled enemies. The enemies you'll be fighting against will be chilled, so just more DR. Those are the passives. Moving over to last Epoch tools, we're going to break down the blessings, idols, and gear, starting with blessings. Now, what I've selected here is we've gone into critical strike multiplier, critical strike avoidance, armor, but on this blessing, you could take base armor, you could take fire resistance, or you could take endurance. You have 3 options. Physical resistance and mana, just to have a bigger mana pool. Looking at idols here, the idol I have selected is the huge arcane idol. This gives you increased critical strike chance and up to 80 health. The other idols we have are, of course, double life idols. We've got some health and mana. And then I've taken 2 small idols that help us get our maximum on our physical resistance. Okay, those are the blessings and the idols. Now looking at gear, there's nothing absolutely required for this build, which means, you know, you don't have to go find this to unlock it. That being said, there is some definite best in slot, starting with Morning Frost. Morning Frost is literally a unique that is used by lots of characters, but it is designed for Shatter Strike. +1 cold damage to attacks and spells per 1 point of dexterity, and dexterity scales the best with Shatter Strike. So you want Morning Frost and try and get a movement slam on it. We're also using the Bloody Nib, and this is going to give you level to Shatter Strike, Dex, Mana Regen, Crit Multiplier, and Cold Penetration per bleed stack on you. Awesome unique for this build. We're also using Bone Clamor Helmet, and this gives you Dex and Intelligence, Necrotic Res, and Ward. And Shatter Strike uses Intelligence and Dex for its attributes, so you double up on this helmet. I've been using Ominous more and more too. I've been putting it in more and more builds just because it's so good. It can give you to all resistances, level, and gives you critical strike chance. Awesome amulet for the build. Now we'll go over everything else. Weapons. We're using a Crystal Sword with Cold Melee, Crit Multiplier, and Cold Penetration. Same for the offhand. Dual Wielding. Armor, Dex, increase to Shatter Strike level, double health. Belt, Mana Regen, Cold, double health. Gloves, Dex, Int, double health. Rings, Dex and Cold, and then resistances and critical strike avoidance. That is the gear. So now let's talk leveling tips and tricks. This is not a leveling guide, but kind of just get you pointed in the right direction. Now for me, it doesn't matter if I'm a sorcerer, spellblade, or a rune master. I level all my mages the exact same way, and that is normally using fire. And the reason why I like using fire is I feel like it has the best options for low level uniques, for power leveling and alts, and just flying through the campaign. Now what first skill I take is Fireball, and I come over and try and get it as free as possible for how much it actually costs to cast, and then I boost its multiplicative damage and range. So I just kind of sit here in the middle on Fireball, and this will be the skill that you will be spamming as you traverse the campaign. Second skill I take is Elemental Nova, and I will come down and turn it into its fire form, and basically you just take these two nodes right here. So you've got your Fireball, you got your Elemental Nova, and then the third skill you take is Teleport. Now, the reason why you'd want to take Teleport is because if you take this tree right here, you will be able to trigger 3 Elemental Novas, basically in the middle when you start and when you end. So when you're teleporting throughout the campaign, you'll be killing enemies and you really never have to stop moving other than when you want to shoot your Fireball. So you can go Fireball, Teleport, and Elemental Nova. You'll fly through the campaign. Now, if you don't like fire, you could also go Lightning, and it's basically the exact same setup. But instead of taking Fireball, you take Lightning Blast. Yes, you do. And you take the crit damage, you take the chance for double cast and quad cast. You want all the nodes right in here for your Lightning Blast. And then for your Elemental Nova, instead of taking fire, you take Lightning Nova, which turns it into a lightning skill, and then you do the exact same thing with teleport, so you could traverse through the campaign. Fire or lightning, the choice is yours. You really will fly through the campaign. All right, everyone, that's the build guide. What do you think of my new and improved Shatter King? Is there anything I missed? Is there anything I could do to push this to the next level? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Best way to support is Patreon. Don't forget to join the official Action RPG Discord. We're approaching 4,500 members. We do a game giveaway every 2 weeks. It's where we do community events, races, movie nights, game nights. It's an awesome place to hang out for all things ARPG, and we're kind of the unofficial voice channel for Last Epoch. So check out my Discord. It is linked in the description. I'm done. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.